Hi everyone, this is Pramita here. Um, I'm sorry I tried to upload a quick ideas, tips and tricks sort of um, tutorial on how to use charms in your journal or your traveler's notebook or even your fauxbonichi or whatever. So, but unfortunately it got too long, so I couldn't upload it. I tried to edit that, but I have decided that I'll make it in a two-part video. So for the first part I'll show you what are the supplies that you might be needing and a few ideas, and the second part I'll go about showing actually how you can uh, use it or attach it to your journals or your traveler's notebook or your whatever you want to attach that to. So that's one of the first thing that I have decided. So this part will only give you a brief glimpse into what you can do or how you can make your own charms like I am doing right now. So for that you will be needing only a few things. Now I had tried to use minimal stuff or the things that are required to make charms, because I know at the end of the day I'm not going to make it professionally. I'm not going to sell these things. They are only for my personal use. So maybe I'll give them away, a few in my happy mails or so. So I decided to keep the supplies and tools uh, at a minimal level, because you know when you are crafting or when you're painting or when you're planning or doing your journaling, you are exposed to a lot of supplies, and which we often buy without thinking that maybe we will not need that too many times, or we might not use it much. We just get carried away and buy stuff, and then we see that we are not using it properly. So I tried to keep it as minimum as possible, because at the end of the day, I'm making it for myself, or maybe for a few friends who would ask me to make some for them, or of course that would be going in a happy mail. And So I have kept things to a minimal level. You can get a ton of videos about making charms and adding stuff to your journals like that on YouTube, and I'm not a big authority on that. Once again, I'm saying this because whenever I watch some tutorial or video on YouTube, my brain starts working in a different fashion. What I tend to do is I'm extremely sorry because of the shaking of the camera, because I'm doing it with one hand, and you have to bear with me. Please do, and I'll be so grateful. Because yesterday I tried to film this in a very detailed manner, and everything went haywire because it was too long, and I tried to show all possible ways of using the charms and making. So I just couldn't complete it. The detailed view of that. Anyways, so let me quickly show you the stuff that I'll be using when I make my charms. So first is I use head pins. Now you get two types of pins. Okay, one is the head pin, which I'll show you. One is the head pin, which has a flat, if you can see properly, which has the flat top. I hope it's visible. You also get an eye pin, which has a small loop at the end. Now this helps the bead to be held like this. So when you put a bead inside this, it's going to be held in its place. And you can add other beads too, and then twist the top part. So this will be one of the supplies, and the other will be the jump rings. Now I have a box of jump rings with assorted sizes. I wanted to buy some loose ones, the ones that I'd be needing, but then I saw that this was a better deal. So, and the storage is awesome, so I went with this pack. And also some lobster claws, mini lobster claws. Now this is not totally essential, but if you want to use and reuse your charms, like you want to move it from one journal to another, it's easier with a lobster claw. So if you attach your charm to a lobster claw, it becomes easier for you to move it from one journal to another, or from one planner to another. I know this is shaking horribly, I'm so sorry. So this will just be an intro, and the next part will have a few details. Maybe I'll have to do two or three parts, I don't know, let's see. This will be the jump rings, and this will be the lobster claws that you have, yeah, and this will be the head pin. So these are the three essentials that you'll be needing, and the other thing that you'll be needing is a plier. So without a plier, I'm sorry, without a plier you will not be able to this. Without a plier you will not be able to twist this head pin. So initially you put the beads in, and then at the top you put your plier at the top and twist it to form a loop. Now the end result will look like this. I'll just show you some that I've already made, like this. So these are some of the beads that I purchased from, from a local jewelry findings shop, and I just strung a few beads through it. So what I did was I put one small bead at the end. See, you can see the head pin, the end of the head pin, and then I've put another small bead and one cylindrical one, and I have twisted the top part. Now if I want, I can string this with a baker's twine or a cord or a leather cord or whatever and use it as a page mark. Or what I can do is I can attach a jump ring to it, and then to a lobster claw, and then attach it to my journals. So that will be my second part. So I'll show you how I do that. So the first part will only show you what are the tools that I'm using and the stuff you require. Now these are the minimum ones. You can go overboard very easily. So it's very easy to do that, when you're crafting. So I try to keep things minimal. I have even done page marks without using jump rings or the head pins and stuff like that. I've just strung some leather cord through the beads like this, and I've kept them like so. So if you add a head pin, it becomes a little bit structural. It adds structure to this, like it doesn't move, and it is not as floppy as it is when it's strung with a cord. So that's something which I found that I liked. And so whenever now I'm making a charm, I usually use a head pin because that gives it a structure. Now I'll show you what are the things that you can use apart from beads. You can use these pom-poms that you get, small tiny ones. These are all ready-mades I bought from the jewelry shop. You can even use your old earrings. I have done that also. I always try to challenge myself to use stuff like so. And I have used one that I had lost the pair to it, so I couldn't get myself to part with the other one because I loved that bead so much. So I thought I would turn it into a charm. So I'll show you what I did to it. This was the let me show. This was actually the bead. This was the earring actually. Yeah, and I couldn't part myself. So I had lost its pair, so I thought that why don't I use it as a charm. So what I did was I took apart the top part and I attached a lobster claw and I added to my traveler's notebook. Now you can do that also, and if you're using a spiral notebook, it's equally easy. Like you can add it, yeah, you can add it over here with your spiral. I have done that in my Erin Condren. A friend of mine, Luz, she had sent me a charm, not a charm, actually a tassel sort of thing, and it was pretty big for my traveler's notebook. So I thought I'm going to use it in my Erin Condren. So I have attached this lobster claw to the ring. So you can do that also, and you can also punch holes. I'll show that in the next tutorial. This will be just a overview. You can just punch a hole out here and attach a charm to it. So it's entirely up to you how you want to use it, and the basic thing is what are you comfortable with. Because initially when I started my journey on charms and beads and stuff like that, I started using too much, and then I found that it was bothering me. I didn't want that much of jingly jangly stuff because I'm not a you know fancy frills kind of person. I like my things to be streamlined. So, and it was bothering me at the end, it was getting in my way of writing, storing. So I decided to streamline things down, and I chose to part with some of the charms that I had made. So now I try to keep my charms at a minimal level. I'm just going to show you how I am using the charms in my journals. Now my the space is looking all messy. Let me clear out some space. I'll just show you how I am using this one. This is the new Fabdory that I have made from this upholstery material, because I thought it would give it a structure. I had made another one, but that was from a thinner fabric, and I didn't like because it didn't give the traveler's notebook structure. I wanted something a little bit stiffer. I hope you can see it. So this is one bead charm that I had already made. Now when I make them in an assembly line fashion, because it's no point sitting down to make only two when it's the same effort for making 20. So when I make them in a bunch. And also I'm going to show you how I have added a pom-pom to the charm. See, I've threaded that through, if you can see it, I hope it's visible enough. This is a small bead that I had put in first, and then I had threaded this pom-pom, then another bead, just to keep the stuff in place, and then a few smaller beads, and after that I've attached this to the head pin, and then I have added another one, both together with the lobster claw. I hope you can see it. Yeah, and then I've added this lobster claw with a jump ring to my traveler's notebook. If you don't have a traveler's notebook, or if you're not using a traveler's notebook, you can easily pierce a hole out here with the help of a hole punch, and then you can put the jump ring through it. So it'll work out fine. It won't make any difference. And I'm going to show that in the next part that I'll do. So this is one that I have done. I have also added a charm sideways. See, I have punched a hole in a page and it just hangs out. I have not seen anyone do this stuff. I have used it in my traveling junk journal, the one that Amity Bloom had started, and I think the person who got the journal after me was thrilled. Like, it was complimenting her page also. So I think it's a very good idea. If you want to add a charm to your journal, you can simply punch a hole and add it. It makes easier if you have a jump ring, otherwise it's a bit difficult. Anyway, I also have a few ideas, like you can add tassels to your traveler's notebook like this. Yeah, I've added a tassel, and I've also added some, these are all from old earrings I had, and I thought of using them like this. And these are some of the stuff. This is my work planner, and I use beads a lot, especially the glass beads, but not too much. I don't like them too much because it gets in the way. So so that is going to be my update. Now this is another charm that page mark that I have made. So watch out for the next part, which will show you actually how to make the charms with minimal effort, because I try to do it with minimum effort, and I think that suits my personality a lot. Okay, so bye for now. So watch out for the second part.